All right, welcome to a brand new episode, you guys. 6:06. We just got back from Denver, Colorado, playing the Mission Ballroom. MXPX, Goldfinger, Zebrahead, and Homegrown. It was off the hook. Everything I thought it would be and more. Maybe some of the things I thought it would be didn't quite happen, but no, it was awesome. So thank you everybody that came out. Thank you everybody that wanted to come out. That almost counts. It almost counts, all right? So we have more shows coming up. We're going to be on all the Warped Tour dates coming up throughout the summer into the fall. That's Washington, D.C. That's Long Beach, California. That's Montreal. That's, what do we got? We got Orlando, Florida. We got Mexico City. Wow. All right. Going to be awesome. New album, working on getting all the artwork and everything together. We're done recording. We're really excited about it. End of the summer, we're going to be in Milan, Italy, Saturday, September 5th at the Punkadeka Festival. Going to be awesome. Before that, at the end of August, we are doing a Pacific Northwest show. It is not announced yet. It will be announced later this month later this month in April. I haven't made any promo for it or anything. We don't, it's in the works, people. It's in the works. A Pacific Northwest area show at the end of August. All right, you guys. Sorry, that was a little rough, a little rocky, but we got through it. MXPX.com for all of the tickets, links, swag. We have vinyl, hoodies, hats, t-shirts, goodies. We even have Steaks Will Be Made seasoning. Shout out to Matt, the chef from Arizona that came out to Denver and made an amazing meal, a couple meals for us. But he did all the catering, and he's a longtime fan. But thank you, Matt. It was amazing. He used Steaks Will Be Made seasoning on the steaks, and let me tell you, I don't know if it was the seasoning. It probably wasn't. It was probably just his expertise and then also using the seasoning. But it was some of the best steak I've ever had. I was telling him, I'm sitting there eating going, oh my gosh, I wish I could eat more of this, but I'm about to go on stage, so I gotta chill. But that was great. It was just great to see everybody. We did not do a meet and greet at that show not because of these voicemails, but because the place was just too big. We couldn't do it. Sometimes that'll happen, but we appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I said last week that I was not going to do any more episodes on this topic, but you guys I got so many calls. I played as many as I could last week. I played them back to back, boom, 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 boom. And there's still so many calls, all from the same time. And so I thought, it'd be kind of a bummer if all these people called in with their great stories and no one got to hear them. So this is not me trying to pile on Michael at all. I have not heard from Michael. He has not called back in. He hasn't sent me a message about anything. So I kind of assume he's Audi 5000, which is totally fine. So this episode is just to continue with the positivity, continue with the stories. You guys have a lot of stories from the past, from the very recent past. And I just, I thought we'd hear about it. So let's do it. And I haven't listened to any of these, so we're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna get to as many as I possibly can, and we'll go from there. Thank you. And a lot of people are asking about podcast stickers and swag and merch and stuff like that. I think it's starting to become a thing where a few of you might want some swag. So yeah, we'll have something made. We'll get a t-shirt made. We'll put the stickers in the store. I would like to send out some stickers to a bunch of you guys. Maybe, I don't know if I can do everybody, but maybe we do a sign up where if everybody that comments on something gets a sticker. I'm not sure how to do it. I'll talk to Bob and figure out something, and then I'll talk about it on an episode. All right. But we'll try to do something cool. All right, let's get to your voicemails. Let's see what else you guys had to say. Here we go.
Mike, I hope you're well. This is another Mike from North Carolina, and I was just going to quickly sort of discuss Michael, because I guess we're all some version of Michael in this whole world now. Just his.
So true, aren't we? We're all some version of Michael in this world.
Bizarre stuff and coming at you, largely because not only was I at the Charlotte show and have been to a million shows at the Fillmore where it was, but I was literally the next to last person in line for the meet and greet, so I got to watch basically everything unfold, and actually until there was maybe 20 people to go, I was the last person, and all of a sudden someone was behind me. But for those that aren't at these shows, like, you guys jump straight into meet and greet. It's not like you take a 30-minute break and, you know, go clean up and relax and catch your breath, and you guys do a lot, and I can assure you that pretty much everybody other than Michael was truly happy with everything. You guys rocked the show. You guys were incredible during the meet and greet, and, you know, the meet and greet's got to go fast. There was like 2,000 people there. I would estimate over 1,500 of them were in the meet and greet line, and I thought you guys all handled it amazingly, and I think most people recognize that, you know, time is limited and we've got to move through quick. Of course, we'd all love to have a huge conversation with you guys and catch up and you know, tell stories and remember shows and all that. But, you know, what I saw being in the back, and I was by myself, so I wasn't, you know, hanging out with people and kind of missing out what's going on around me, very easy to observe. I saw a lot of happy people. I saw kids thrilled. I saw a little kid with one of Yuri's drumsticks, and he just, you know, on his way out the door, you could tell he was just the happiest kid ever, and saw you guys joking with people and just being really awesome. And I also know that that facility is well known for, as soon as the show is over, they want everybody out, like, immediately. They're notorious for that. It's a great place to watch a show, but they can be a bit over the top. Can't imagine what Tom had to deal with to try and allow you guys to have the meet and greet. But, you know, even being later, man, I mean, you guys had to be tired. Third night out of 3, going straight from playing to talking there. Much easier for you guys to just chill and all that. But please know that we are appreciative. We are all appreciative of you guys, and you guys were amazing and fantastic. And even at the end of the line, when you guys were definitely tired and probably wanted to go get out of there and head to Charleston and all that other stuff, you guys were gracious. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this dude and all this crazy voicemail stuff. So, dude, Michael, if you're listening, entitlement, you know, main character syndrome doesn't look good on anybody. But Mike, all of you guys were amazing. We appreciate it. Don't let these dudes distract you from doing your thing. And I know meet and greets are not easy, especially when they get huge like that, and especially at venues trying to move everybody through. But you guys.
All right, you got cut off, but I think you were just about done. Thank you for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. Spot on, you know. Main character syndrome is interesting because you should be the main character of your life. You should be that good guy, that good lady, whatever. And we don't always do that. Absolutely. There's plenty of times where I'm just kicking myself. That's why I wrote the song Stay Up All Night, because I've made so many mistakes in life, and I'm just like, man, I wish I could be the good guy, the better person, you know? But we always have that, like, tomorrow's another day. We always have, as long as you wake up in the morning, you have a chance to do better. And that's how I live my life every day. Let's do better today. Let's do better. Some days, yeah, you just want to chill, and that's fine too. That's nothing wrong with that. But main character syndrome, I think everybody should be the main character of their life and be the good guy. Do what you would want the main character of the movie you're watching to do. You know, that's what we should do. And it doesn't always happen in the moment. Sometimes we have to make that mistake and then realize, why did I do that? Why was that? Why did I react like that? Why was it a big deal to me that whatever, you know? So I think, yeah, I'm with you. And thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Mike. Let's hear from Matt.
Yo, Mike, what's up? Matt Capps here. Got a couple comments, couple questions. First comment is in regards to the voicemail from Michael. Listen, I've been a fan since 94. First time seeing you guys was the Blenderhead Tour in 95. Many, many times since. And, you know, lots of hangs, after show hangs, festival hangs, zine interviews, fan club events, street king events, meet and greets, whatever. You've always been a class act, never been a jerk. Sure, human, better, worse days, more or less time, but never a jerk. I really feel like, I just don't know where he's coming from. You know, maybe his expectation was completely unrealistic. I wonder how long he's been going to shows and kind of in the rock and roll world and seeing how things work. Anyway, yeah, I don't think you're the jerk. That's my 2 cents. Next comment is, I got the Orange Creamsicle Sterling by Stingray. It's beautiful. It's awesome. Plays great out of the box. Stock pickups sound good. Yeah, thanks so much for letting it be available to us for under $1 million. I love it. Next thing is, around Halloween, someone called in and asked some questions, and it led to you saying that you weren't allowed to watch Scooby-Doo as a kid and how it's crazy that you still ended up driving around in a van. Isn't it crazy you were specifically not allowed to watch that show and you ended up doing the theme song for the movie? What? And also, recently my son was watching a DVD of one of the Scooby-Doo shows. Had some good music, some Ramones and stuff, but it had Southbound and I think maybe Chick Magnet, so I thought that was cool. Next comment/question is, probably like around 10 years ago, you guys did a cover of the Screeching Weasel song, Leather Jacket, one of my favorite Weasel songs. And I was thinking it would be awesome if there was a split cover 7-inch, kind of like the old Rancid NoFX split cover. You guys do Leather Jacket, obviously, and Weasel does, I don't know. Could that ever be possible? I know Ben's a quirky guy, but seems like a cool idea. Last thing, Left Coast Live. So, going back to that time period, I feel like I remember it being sort of a big event. It seemed like it was heavily promoted and seemed like it was going to be a really big deal. And I'm not saying that it wasn't. I mean, the vinyl was released. It's on streaming. The video was released. There's like a free thing for fan club members. But it just seemed to me that it didn't turn out to be quite the big event that I felt like it was going to be. Am I wrong? Is that just my perception? Or, yeah, any thoughts, background, stories, any recollection of that period and the whole thing? So anyway, that's all I got, man. Love you. Bye.
All right. Hey, what's up, Matt? Dude, thank you so much. What a great voicemail. I appreciate it. Everything you said. Orange Creamsicle Bass, my new signature series, Sterling, by Music Man. Yes, I appreciate it. I just played it a couple weeks ago on stage with Goldfinger. It was great. Nothing wrong. It was the first show I had actually played with it. The reason why I don't play with it with MXPX yet is because, well, it's made different than my other basses just a little bit. There's a volume knob and there's things. So I feel like, if I just use just the one bass that I use for Goldfinger, I can use this bass. But since I would actually need them to like, hey, make me another bass with a different color with the same guts as the Sterling by Music Man, that's actually a good idea. I should probably have them do that. Just something different, so I can have both of the, two of the Sterling basses. But thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Everybody that's bought the bass. I think some people have said that it's still out of stock and they're waiting for it to come back in stock. I need to probably do some diligence on that and figure out what's going on and when it's going to be back in stores. But thank you everybody that's already bought one. It's been awesome. Scooby-Doo, funny comment. Yes, I was not allowed to watch Scooby-Doo or a lot of shows like that when I was a kid. My parents, back in the early days especially, were hippie. They were religious hippies, born again. And they just kind of were doing what they thought was right. Oh, let's not let the kids watch, shows that have ghosts and demons and things that could scare the kid, right? But then they'd be watching Alien and I'd walk in and they'd let me watch Alien with them, the movie Alien, which is a highly psychologically scary film. And so, they did their best, and it wasn't like a hard, fast rule of you can't do this ever, but they would just pick and choose a few things. Like, I was allowed to watch the Smurfs, but other kids, from church or religious backgrounds weren't allowed to watch the Smurfs because of the magic and the things that were happening, in that show. I kind of found it harmless. Obviously, I was a little kid when I watched Smurfs, but same with Scooby-Doo. If you really watch it now, it's pretty harmless. But, back then we didn't know anything. We still don't know anything now, right? It is pretty ironic that later on in the years we covered the Scooby-Doo theme song and we were on one of the movies in the song. The song was on one of the movies. But, hey, my parents are totally chill now. Like, they don't really worry about any of that stuff, of course. But back in the day, they were just doing their best. Hey, we all are, right? Number 3, your point about Leather Jacket by Screeching Weasel. That is hands down one of my favorite songs that they do. The reason why I wanted to do it, we even covered it, was because back in high school, I made a skate video and I used Leather Jacket, the song, as the background music for the skate video. And ever since then, I've always loved that song. And I came up, and when Screeching Weasel was in Seattle years ago, I came up and sang it with them as a guest spot. They played at the Crocodile, the new Crocodile, or maybe it was the old Crocodile, actually, location, but it was like the newer building, and then they ended up moving. Anyway, Seattle people know. Wow. Your question is, can we do a split 7-inch with Screeching Weasel? Sure. If they want to do it and put it together, I'm down. I think it's just one of those things that would always be fun to do. It's fun to do these things. Sometimes you just don't have the time to do each little thing. But yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be fun. Leather Jacket, great song. What song would Screeching Weasel cover from MXPX? That's the question. Let us know in the comments if you're on Facebook. Those are the comments I usually get to. Of course, comments on Instagram as well. Comments on YouTube as well. So those are the 3 places to comment, and I will probably see it. Let me know. You can always call in. The number's 360-830-6660. Your last point was Left Coast Live came out. We did this big sort of fundraiser for it. Anybody that bought into the fundraiser got Left Coast Live, the movie, sent to them to download. They could own it, and that's the way it was. So it wasn't actually a fan club thing. It was just like straight up, like, we were just trying different models, different business models, different ways to put and release things and to pay for things. And your comment about it, it kind of got hyped up, and then it wasn't as big of a deal when it came out. That's true, actually. Interestingly enough, we did that live album, or Left Coast Live, and we were very happy with how it came out. But the video itself, there was just some things not done in prep on the production end of the video that we were not happy about, and so we worked really, really hard to fix it and make it as good as it possibly could be. But ultimately, we didn't feel like it was up to the standards that we wanted it to be, and that's why we gave it away for free on Facebook after. So people could download it that bought it and paid for it and whatever, and they got theirs. But ultimately, instead of like also selling it to more people, we ended up just putting it free on YouTube, so anybody could watch it. It's part of what we've done. But yeah, I think it's just straight up, like, sometimes things, and I don't want to poison the well and say that it's not good, because we really like it. But there were some expectations we had that didn't quite get there on the production end. Some of the shots that weren't gotten, like, you didn't have a camera on this, you didn't have a camera on that. Like, that's as specific as I want to get. But that's why it wasn't as big of a deal when it came out, because we were just like, all right, let's move on. Let's get this out. Let's do this, but let's move on and continue. And then we started working on our self-titled album. We released Let's Ride and all of it. And what else is on there? Friday Tonight, Rolling Strong, like songs like that, So, yeah, nothing crazy, but that's kind of what happened with Left Coast Live. It's great. But some of the things we wanted it to be didn't quite make it, and so we just didn't push the promotion as hard as we would on other things. There you go. All right. Wow. Let's hear the next voicemail. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mike. How's it going? Man, we have talked many times, but probably not in this century. My name is Jeremiah. I don't know if you would remember me at all, but I was in a band when I was back in high school, and we played a few shows with you guys. This is when you all were really taking off. We were pen pals for a little bit. Yeah, got some early MXPX merchandise that way. Very cool. green T-shirt I remember with like a little, I don't know, goblin guy on it or something like that. Anyway, yeah, I was just listening to a recent episode of your podcast where some very unhappy meet and greet attendee called in, and yeah, I feel bad for you because I want to relate a quick story about when I had played a show with you guys. This was like, okay, this is in Indiana. You were on tour in the summer of 1995 with Blenderhead. You played with us. We were called Direct Youth, very derivative high school punk band, and Blast of the Rocket Boy, who were always amazing, of course, right? It was a fun show. I remember Yuri was nowhere to be found for your sound check, so I hopped on the drums and helped the sound check, and I was forever, really, really cool then in the eye.
Real quick, I just want to say this is the first time I've ever heard of Yuri missing a sound check, and it makes sense because it's the first tour, the very, very first tour we ever did. So that's awesome. Thanks for calling that out. Yuri, what did you do? All right, continue.
All my friends. Anyway, after the show, you're standing around after load-in. You're tired. You played a kick-ass set. It was well attended, and I tried to talk to you, and didn't get the response that I wanted. I don't remember anything about the conversation other than that. And then afterward, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Here he is, like, he's exhausted after the set. He's nice enough to talk to me in the first place. What exactly was I wanting, And I feel like you're still having to deal with that today at, what are you, getting on to 50 years old, right? And people are still just expecting you to be all things to all people, and it's just not possible. So I hope that you took everything that guy said with a grain of salt, and that, may we all be a lot more gracious with each other, because I think we're all doing the best we can with what we have, and, you're doing great. Keep it up, and I hope you're doing well. Take care, Mike.
Jeremiah, thank you so much for the call. Thanks for saying that. Yes, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but man, it means the world to hear the stories. Of course, I don't remember the exact interaction between us, Jeremiah, but I remember that tour. I remember Blast of the Rocket Boy. I remember, I'm just learning what it's like to interact with people, and I'm grateful for it all, to be honest. But yeah, it's a learning experience, and I just appreciate you guys, and yeah, a little more grace. We all could use a little more grace for each other. And I certainly think the same about Michael, the original caller. So if you're listening to this podcast and you have no idea what I'm talking about, go listen to episode 604. And that first voicemail is going to be what we've all been talking about the last couple of weeks. So if you're over it, you're done, you don't need to hear anything more about voicemails and meet and greets, please skip this episode. We'll be back, next week or the week after with something different. But like I said, I'm going to play your messages because you guys took the time to call in, and to be honest, they're pretty respectful. And even when they mention Michael, it's more like, hey, chill, dude. We're good. We're all a big happy family here. Let's chill. So I think it's pretty respectful, and I love hearing these stories about 1995. That tour was wild, like our very first tour. We had flown around and played some bigger shows here and there, but this tour was a straight up, just a punk tour. Like, kids were putting on shows, and sometimes 50 people would show up, sometimes a couple hundred people would show up, but it was not like it is today. I mean, it was very easy to come up and talk to us back then, whereas today you really have to get lucky or see me on the street or see me walking through a crowd or something like that. But I'm not usually just hanging out in the crowd these days just because you just can't. Whenever I am in a crowd at a show, as soon as one person sees me, the photos start, the autographs start, and I'm very happy to do them. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I got to get out of here because I got to go do this. I got to go warm up for the show and whatever it is. But I always appreciate it. It's it's always a great thing to get to see you guys and talk to you and actually have a little interaction. All right, let's keep going. Keep going.
Yo, Mike and MXPX family. My name is Chris out of Sacramento, California. Big fan since 2004-ish when I was in 10th grade. Anyways, I'm just calling in to say that the merch arsenal is amazing. I recently ordered a bunch of gifts for my son's birthdays, all three of my boys, and I ordered myself a record, of course. Anyways, the package got lost by the post office, and they scanned it as delivered and never delivered it. I have cameras on the front of my property. They capture the delivery guy from the post office driving up, scanning something in his truck, and then driving off, never getting out. Anyways, I've been fighting the post office on getting a reimbursement for my package, and they're denying me, basically. So fast forward to, I was emailing somebody from the MXPX merch arsenal, and they were very kind. I think her name was Mary. Can't remember. But she was super sweet, and she gave it about 2 weeks and went ahead and shipped me another order, this time through FedEx, and I received my package about 2 days ago, and it's amazing. You guys are amazing. Mike, you are not an asshole. You're amazing, dude. I appreciate you, appreciate your family, and everything MXPX did to make my boys have a happy birthday. All three of them have a birthday, one in April, one in March, and then one in July. So, yeah. Just wanted to say I love the podcast, love MXPX, love the MXPX family. Everybody, we need music right now. We need music to cope, man. There's a lot of shit going on in the world. All right, guys. See y'all from Sacramento.
Yeah, that you're so right on, Chris. Thank you. We do need music. We need positivity out there in the world. We need to just keep moving and keep working, and that's it. You know, happy birthday to your boys. I'm so glad that this was a great, a good outcome for you. Shout out to Mary. She's the best. She is working right alongside my mom at the merch arsenal, and she does all of our customer stuff, like, I don't even know what you call it. We're not even a real company. We try. I don't even know what you call it. We don't have an HR department or anything like that, but we definitely have a customer service person, and that's Mary. She not only does that, but she packages up all the merch for you. She does research on items. She gets all of our merch together for the shows, and she sends it out from there out to the shows. Of course, we have merch sent out from screen printers as well, but anything that's coming from the merch arsenal, she'll send it out. And so my mom actually just the other day said, I would not know what we would do without Mary. She is so helpful. So thank you, Mary. We love you. And thanks, Chris. Thanks for the call. Happy birthday to the boys. All right, let's get it. Let's get a couple more here.
Hi, Mike. This is Josh from Nebraska. Calling back after a long pause. Been a while. But I've got a two-part question for you on cover songs. First one is there any cover songs that you wanted to do, but you couldn't get one or two of the other guys on board, so it never happened? There's been several songs that I've always wanted to cover in my bands. Can't Hardly Wait by the Replacements, Rudy Can't Fail by the Clash, and stuff like that. I never could get certain other people on board to do it, so it's just a big drag. And then finally, last band I was in finally got to do some Christmas songs I wanted to do, and what's that song? Hey Little Rich Girl by the Specials. Yeah, finally got to do that one, and it was so much fun. So I was wondering if there was ever a song you wanted to cover that you never got to do. And two-part is, if MXPX ever did another on the cover record, what songs might you do for that one? Thanks, Mike. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Okay, let's let's keep it easy. Let's keep it simple. Cover songs that maybe I wanted to do. I can't think of anything that I wanted. I'm sure there are a few, but I'm thinking of one that Tom wanted to do that we never did. We kind of messed with it and just never got off the ground. Probably just because we got busy doing something else, and that's the Clamp Down by The Clash. He would always play that, and we just jam it sometimes. I would say also Highway to Hell, AC/DC. That's a song we love to play, for sound check or whatever, but it just doesn't quite work vocally. I can't figure out how I would do it vocally without just copying what they're doing, and I can't really sing like that. And so, that's kind of some of the reasoning is like, I love that song, but we just can't pull it off. And what songs would we do if we did it on the cover 3? Now, I can't give away our secrets, but would people want all the covers that we've done lately, the last 5 years, 6 years or so? Would you want those as part of On the Cover 3 and then add to that? Or you just want a whole new theme? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what songs we would cover. I know there's a few, but I can't think of them right now. Great question, though. Great question. You can feel free to call back and ask it again in a few months. Thanks, Josh. All right, here we go.
Hi, Mike. My name is Paula. I'm calling from Texas. I was calling mostly in response to the podcast question that you asked about if we ever had a bad experience with you in a meet and greet. I actually did not meet you at a meet and greet. I met you my sister and I were the first people in line at a show that you guys did with Simple Plan. And so for whatever reason, we got entrusted with being like VIP security or something. And we got let inside before the show started. And you guys walked by and you talked to me and my sister for a really long time. And we took all these pictures with our little disposable cameras. And to be honest, it's always been one of my most cherished concert memories ever. Not just because it was with my sister, but because she wasn't really a big fan of y'all's. But after that, she got into you guys, and it was just a super fun memory that I always remember. So no, I don't know what the heck that guy was talking about. I had a super amazing experience with you, and the rest of the guys. Also, if I have time still, I would like to know a couple questions. How would you rate your Spanish? And do you have any Spanish language music that you like to listen to? Just wondering. All right, that's all I have to say. Have a great rest of your podcast and rest of your day. And also, don't stop doing the podcast, please. I just discovered it this year, and I've been listening to a lot of them when I go for exercise and things like that. So I love it. It really keeps me company on my drives into work, makes them look horrible in the traffic. So please don't stop, just an account of a few people that, may have had a bad day or whatever. Because at the end of the day, we're all human, and even if you were having a bad day yourself, the person should have given you some grace and been well, he may have just been having a moment. So it is what it is. Please continue. A lot of us do appreciate you, and we'll continue to support. All right, bye.
Thank you so much, Paula. Texas represent. What's up? I love to hear that. That's so cool. I'm glad I wasn't a jerk to you guys. I'm glad I was nice. I appreciate it. Thank you. You wanted to hear about my Spanish. That hurts so much because I have gotten only worse over the years with my Spanish. It really just depends on what I'm doing. If we're touring in Japan, I start paying attention to Japanese words and I learn some phrases and I learn, how to say hi and how to say, konnichiwa or sumimasen, whatever it is, right? Same with Spanish. It kind of just goes away when I'm not thinking about it. So I would give myself a D in Spanish, a D. I definitely understand words here and there, phrases here and there. I just can't speak it. I can't speak it fluently. I know some phrases. I know labios, ojo, things like that. Pantalos, whatever. Zapatos, right? Donde está la biblioteca, right? It's a D. I'm giving myself a D, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I let you down, Paula. I will do better when we come to Texas, when we come to Mexico. I'll try to do better. All right? it just is what it is. You know, I took some classes in high school and junior high, really. I took some classes and I just didn't stick with it. You know, I blame my dad. He speaks full Spanish. It was his first language, yet he was in the Navy when I was a baby learning language. And so the language I learned was my mom teaching me English. He was not there that often, so every now and then he'd say, "Oh, mijo." You know, I love you, Dad. No harm, no foul. It's all good. Thanks for the call, Paula. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. Let's do a couple more.
What's up, Mike? It's Joe from St. Pete. Just wanted to add on to the last voicemail I left. I finally got to listen to that episode about the harsh review someone left for the meet and greet. Maybe I was a little being a jerk myself by calling the guy a douchebag.
A little harsh.
Maybe he was just having a bad day.
Exactly, right?
Anyways, I just wanted to say, don't cancel the podcast. I do love listening to it.
We'll keep it rolling.
And just hearing, different topics and different things people call and leave voicemails about, or whenever you interview people, it's kind of fun to listen to other people in the industry. My experience at the meet and greet, I wish I had a little more time. I was going to tell the other guys my story about how I saw you guys at the Refuge in '95 on your first tour, and how I watched through the glass. But I also realized I wanted to respect your time and the people behind me that have been waiting a while to meet you guys as well. So I get it. I get that, you don't have to do this. You guys get to do this, and you do it as an appreciation to the fans, because you realize that without the fans, you guys wouldn't still be doing the things that you do. If you didn't have people still listening to your music, would you still be touring, or would you still be making new records? Probably not, but that people still enjoy listening to the music, and they still enjoy coming to shows, and a lot of people know some of your older stuff, and there's newer fans that are, discovered you later on that only know your newer stuff. And now you got parents bringing their kids to shows, and the next generation of fans are coming, and I hope you guys go as long as you possibly can, maybe, you never know, 60s, 70s, 80s, as long as you guys can physically do it. I'm always going to be here watching it.
Right.
Even as long as I can go to shows.
Heck yeah.
But anyways, my experience at the meet and greet was awesome, because I've been watching you guys since '95. Finally got to meet you and got an autograph and pictures, and, that's a memory that I'll take with me, and hopefully I'll get to meet you guys again in the future at a meet and greet. So, that's all I really wanted to share. Keep going with the podcast. I enjoy it. Keep going with touring. Keep going.
I got you. You got cut off, but I get it. And thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate the follow-up call. Man, you're right, man. It's amazing that people listen to our music and come see us at shows, and we want to give them, their money's worth, their time's worth, their life's time. I mean, we don't get time back. So we appreciate when you wait in that line and you're at second to last at the end of the line, and you've been there for an hour. We want to respect your time, So I always say, thank you for waiting. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you. Thank you. And it's true. So I appreciate that. And it's amazing that you were at our very first show in St. Pete at the Refuge. I remember that place, tiny little place, big window. You could see into the show, but it's just like a little room, smaller than our studio here. It was tiny. So we've all come a long way, and we appreciate that. So, all right, let's keep going. We're moving right along. We're going to wrap it up here soon, but I'm going to try to get a couple more of your voicemails. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, this is Frank from Florida. I hope all is well. It's been a while since I called in, but I heard the voicemail from Michael and wanted to, address some things. 2 years ago, I saw you in Orlando with my daughter. It was an amazing show. Prior to the show, I saw you and the rest of the band out walking around the Disney Springs area, and I actually wanted to say hi, but I couldn't muster up the courage. So during the show, when you guys said there was going to be a meet and greet, I was like, oh, this is great. This is redemption for myself, not, having, guts to say hi. But anyway, went through the meet and greet. My daughter and I had a fantastic experience. I saw you taking time with everyone. It's all I could have asked for and more, as seeing one of my favorite bands with my daughter and then getting to meet the band after. It's a fantastic experience, and I'm sorry, actually, you had a phone call like that, to be honest with you, because I think that guy had some false expectations in his head, and judging by the little aggression and anger in his voice, again, I think he built something up that was going to be hard for anybody to go ahead and fulfill. So just calling to tell you about my experience. It was great, and I guess you can't make everyone happy, and maybe that guy has some other unhappiness in his life and was really honing in on that moment to be something that it wasn't. So anyway, Mike, you're awesome. Thank you again for that experience 2 years ago with my daughter and I, and keep rocking. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Frank, man. That all made so much sense, and I love it. And I'm glad that we got to do the meet and greet for you, and you got some redemption there. Redemption for Michael too. I forgive you, Michael. I hope you can forgive me. I hope we can come together in the future and have that conversation. Honestly, it's you're owed that now. I feel like, you've given us so much to talk about, so much to be thankful for. Honestly, I appreciate the original voicemail caller, Michael, just for bringing it up. Honestly, maybe he had a bad day, like somebody earlier said. Maybe he was having a bad day. So whatever it is, whatever's going on in your life, Michael, MXPX community, people, the podcast community, they're so good. Like, the people are so good here. They're not piling on. They're very gracious. They're giving time and grace to this situation that not all groups and fan bases would do, honestly. So much love to everybody out there in the community. If you want to be part of this, please go subscribe to my podcast wherever you listen, or my YouTube channel, Mike Herrera Video. That would be excellent. I need more subscribers over there, because we're really building that up. All right, a couple more. Let's see if we can get to a few more.
Mike, Kevin from Rochester here. Hope that you're well. Long-time listener, long-time fan, seen MXPX countless times. Quick question for you. Just thinking about this the other day. One of my first shows ever, you guys had opened with an intro, and it was Teenage Wasteland. And I remember the lights go off, the intro comes in, then you guys come in, and Yuri starts on the drums, and you start jumping up and down, and the place went nuts. It was so memorable for me. It made me think, do you have an intro that is like a favorite that sticks out in your mind? Do you have something where the lights go out, you didn't play your first song yet, and you keep going back to, man, that was so cool? You've probably had so many. And my other question, too, is do you have like an opener that's been a favorite of yours? Maybe it's even something you're like, we can't open the show again with this. We've done it so many times, it's just so sick we have to. So, love seeing you guys live. Just curious if you have a favorite intro type thing that you did that you can remember, and or an opener. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Bob O'Reilly was, that's the name of the song, by the way, Teenage Wasteland. Bob O'Reilly was so epic, and we did it for so long, so many times. We even brought it back after we had stopped doing it, because it's just so good. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it again someday. I don't know. But we've had so many different intros. We had the Call Out by The Clash. We've had Rumble. We had, right now we've had different kind of hip hop type intros. We've had, Yeah, what is my favorite? I don't know. Baba O'Reilly was definitely iconic, because how could you not be iconic with The Who? We're stealing one of the best songs in the world for our intro. I really like what we're doing right now with, coming out the gate with Not Today. It's a great song to start with. We're probably going to start moving away from that, but we can bring it back now and again and do it, because once you do something, you can bring it back. So now and again, we'll bring back My Life Story for the first song. We'll bring back, Not Today. We'll bring back, what else have we done first? I don't know what else we've done. It's been a while, but yeah, that's interesting. An intro really does matter. You're kicking off the whole show. You're kind of setting the tone, and the MXPX crowd usually does start a little slow. Like, people are just watching and going, what am I seeing? And then once they kind of like their brains adapt to it, then they start singing more. They start going, they move more and go crazier. So, we're trying to get you guys hyped as soon as possible. But at the same time, I realize it doesn't always happen on the first song. We've literally opened with Punk Rock Show. It was a show with Social Distortion, Old 97. Actually, Old 97's opened, and then we went on, and then Dancehall Crashers, and then Social D. So we were second of 4 at the time. This is a long time ago, let me say, and it was in Santa Barbara, California, if I remember correctly. We opened with Punk Rock Show just because we're like, we've been closing with this. Why don't we open with it? Maybe the crowd will just start going crazy. They did not. We opened with Punk Rock Show. The crowd stood there and watched us and was like, what's going on? And we're like, oh, they're not ready for this yet. You have to like get them hyped enough to get ready for Punk Rock Show. So, I mean, there is psychology to it in a lot of ways, and we think about it a little bit, but we don't fully run like all the data necessarily and all the things like that, but we do pay attention to intros and outros and transitions and just the whole show. Yeah. All right, Kevin, thank you, appreciate it.
Hey Mike, this is Erin from Virginia. Been listening to more of the podcast, and I had a quick question. I don't think I've heard anybody else ask this yet. You're a really creative person. You do a lot of different things, and you do great. I also like to do a lot of different creative things, but I get caught sometimes with creative block, and sometimes it goes away pretty quickly. Other times I struggle like a great deal with it. And I was curious, do you ever deal with a creative block as well? And if so, how do you get through it? Like, I know everybody's got their own methods, but it's always fascinating for me to hear from other people who like to make and create things, whether it be writing or music or what have you, how they get past that dry spell where they're just struggling. Like, what works for you? Do you have that problem? I'd love to hear your input. Thanks for everything, and peace.
All right, Aaron, thanks for the call. This is a great question, and I appreciate it. It was really cool. Do I get creative blocks, and how do I break those blocks? Yeah, sometimes I do get creative blocks, and more in the past than more recently. But honestly, the best thing I do is let's just make it simple and say I have a creative block with songwriting and I can't think of what to do with this song or that song. I set it aside, and we can't all do that with every single project that we have, because some of us work for a boss and they're like, you got to do this creative thing and we need it now. So if you can't set it aside, I suggest coming at it from different angles. So what does that mean? If it's a song, whatever part I'm stuck on, I set that part aside and I work on other parts of the song until I'm happy with those. And then when you have the full song, you can kind of go, okay, well, what is this? What is missing from this song? What is missing from this project? And it's that part that you couldn't figure out. But it doesn't have to be that part. It can be a whole new part. So psychologically, you feel like you're not working on the problem, but you are, because this is the same problem. It's just a different idea for that problem. So I think just you gotta jog your brain in a way that kind of like gives it a reset. And a lot of times that's taking a break, setting aside whatever it is you're doing. If you're a person that can walk around and do things, go walk around, go take a walk, go mow the lawn, go do something that's going to help your life and give you a little boost, and I think that's important, is like do a little project that will give you a win. And for me, that's easy. I can go mow the lawn. I literally was mowing the lawn the day I got back from Denver on Sunday. We had a pretty early flight from Denver, very early, no sleep, like 2 hours sleep maybe. I got home, chilled a little bit, but I went and I was doing the lawn. And to me, like something easy like that, it really gives me a pep talk in my brain. Like, okay, you got that project done, even though it's easy to do, it just does something to you, right? And I think little tasks, maybe for some people it's cleaning up their room, cleaning up their work desk, organizing your desk. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, okay, now I can get some work done. Now I can really do it. That's true. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know the psychology behind it, but stack up those little wins and you will continue to win. That's it. And you're going to lose plenty, but you can always stack up the little wins in your life. And I think that's what I do when I have struggles is I don't dwell on it. All right. I hope that helped. I hope that gave you something. Let's see. We're still going. We'll go one more here.
Hi, Mike. My name's Nick Gregorio. I'm a writer and a punk rock fan, MXPX fan for a long time. Anyway, I'm partnered with Punk Rock Saves Lives and Unsolicited Press, and we're collecting a whole bunch of punk artists and putting out an anthology of fiction and nonfiction and poetry and comics, all that sort of stuff. And like, just to name a few people, we've got Russ Rankin, and we've got Emily Whitehurst, and we would love to talk to you about maybe contributing to us. We are PRSL Writing Project, and we would just love to chat a little bit further if you're willing. So my name's Nick, again, Nick Gregorio. You can call me back at 610-724-4175. My email, which is gregorio.nick@gmail.com. That's GREGORIO.NIC@gmail.com. Mike, I'm looking forward to talking to you. I hope you're into it. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. I appreciate it, Nick. Sorry I was like over your phone number so that people wouldn't be prank calling you, but I usually do that for everybody. Thanks for the call. Russ Rankin, obviously, is a great dude, a great artist, great singer. Emily Whitehurst. You all know Emily Whitehurst. Agent M. She sang on a ton of stuff for us. She is awesome. I guess, I'll forward your stuff to the guy that schedules what I do. I appreciate you, Nick, and appreciate what Punk Rock Saves Lives does. I see you guys out there, so very cool. Let's do another one. Let's do one more voicemail we got. All right, here we go.
What's up, Mike? This is Josh calling from Pensacola, Florida. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Cool. I got to say that. Check that off the bucket list. Calling in for a couple of things. The main thing, I wanted to reach out and hear your thoughts. I've been going back and forth on if I was going to call in or not. I'm turning 40 in 2 weeks, Mike. And I know that you've crossed that milestone, that threshold, as well as a lot of the listeners here. But I don't know. It's a big one. I don't know why. As a society, we've made 40 such a big deal. But I'm taking it hook, line, and sinker. I guess it's like maybe keeping up with the Joneses and comparing yourself to everybody else, and maybe these little fantasies and stuff. I'm supposed to have done XYZ by XYZ date, stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to see how it hit you when you turned 40, if you can remember. I remember when I turned 30, it was kind of a big deal for me. It feels like, I don't know, 20s is like the new teens, and 30 felt like kind of a moment. So, but 40, it's for real, dude. So, I don't know. How did that one hit for you? maybe where were you? Maybe he's probably on tour or something like that. But yeah, see if you can go back there in your mind, maybe give some advice to somebody. I'm always thinking about mortality and sad shit like that. But, let's maybe get real about it and put the classic Mike Herrera positive twist on it. I'm here for it. And then the other thing, just a quick little funny story about the first time I heard MXPX. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and used to listen to a late-night Christian radio show where they'd play, like, alternative punk music, stuff like that. It was called The Show. But I remember laying in bed listening with my little handheld AM/FM radio, and they played Punk Rock Show, and I had never heard anything like that before. So I immediately called up. It was a show where you can call in and make requests. And I couldn't tell what you were saying because you were singing with, like, the classic SoCal, or not SoCal, but, the left coast punk accent. And I called and I said, hey, can you play the Punk Rock Man? And they're like, what? But they told me it was MXPX, Punk Rock Show. And so just a few days later, my mom took me up to the local Christian bookstore, and I got my own copy, a cassette tape of Teenage Politics. So shouts out to the cool moms. But, yeah, I'm turning 40, Mike. My brother out. All right, peace. Hope all is well, and see you around.
All right, Josh. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I think we've reached the end of the meet and greet voicemails. I don't think we have any more. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, we're good. 40th birthday party. Happy birthday, by the way, Josh. Happy birthday coming up very soon. Let me just tell you about mine. 30th, yes, I agree with you. 30th was a big deal. Had a big party. We rented out a bowling alley that was like this speakeasy bar in a bowling alley, and we just went crazy. All my friends came and family, and it was wild. But 40th, I hate to say it, I didn't do anything for my 40th. By then, you're just like, I don't know if I want to celebrate being 40. I don't know. So yeah, I did turn 40 a little while ago, and I think I did whatever I normally would do that night. But the daytime, yeah, went out with the family, went out and got a coffee or had lunch, had dinner, something like that. Definitely did that, but didn't have a party, didn't really do anything. And ever since then, I really haven't done much. I've gone, sometimes I'll meet out at the Manette. My buddy Johnny Boyce, he has a birthday the day before mine, and he works at the Manette Saloon. And so for a few years, I'll just go to his birthday party the night before and hang out with him and them and party, and then do stuff with the family on my actual birthday. So I mean, whether it's that or doing nothing or going to dinner, there is no wrong answer. I felt like, man, should I be doing more for my birthday on such a landmark birthday like 40? And I think at the end of the day, it just depends on who your friends are. It depends on who you are. Birthdays aren't as big of a deal to me personally as an adult as they are to other people. But if people really want to do the big thing, no problem. I don't fault them for that. I'm down to celebrate anybody. But yeah, I mean, now that we have kids, the birthdays are all about the kids. I have my daughter's birthday's in February, my son's birthday's in July, so we do that, and then we've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, into Christmas, and then New Year's, and so it's always something, right? But yeah, I didn't do much. I hate to say it, I didn't do much, but there's plenty of times that I'm doing a lot, and it has nothing to do with my birthday. So I just kind of feel like I'm not a normal person when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm out all the time, playing with the band, partying after the shows, not partying after the show. Like sometimes I'll just go straight to the hotel. Like it. There's no always thing. It changes, but yeah. What am I gonna do for the 50th birthday? Whoa. Maybe nothing. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe go to Warped Tour. We'll celebrate at Warped. We'll be out there. All right. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I appreciate you. Shout out to Bob McKnight for producing. Shout out to Christine Hall for helping me with some of the YouTube stuff. So if you're watching, I appreciate that. I've been doing the podcast on YouTube as well for the last couple of years. Definitely less people watch than listen to the podcast audio version, but we do have an audio version. So if you prefer just audio only, go listen to that. All right. MXPX.com for the swag, and I will keep you updated on when we get some Mike Herrera podcast logo shirts and the stickers. We'll make something happen with that. All right. I don't know what else I can say. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the positivity. Thanks for the love as we go into the rest of 2026. I just hope we can get a handle on the economy, the world economy, not just the U.S. I know people are listening also outside the U.S. It's been, let's just say, less than stellar on the political and economic front. But let's hang in there. Let's do our best individually. Let's take care of our families, take care of each other, stay supportive, and reach out to your mom and dad. Reach out to your friend you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out to somebody this week. Just make a point in doing that. I think it goes a long way in whatever it is you got going on in your life. All right. I appreciate you guys. If you want to call in, please do. I've actually run out of voicemails for the most part. So let's start some new topics. Let's get into some new things. Let's get into some summertime, spring topics. I don't know. What are you guys up to? The number is 360-830-6660. As always, much love. Appreciate you. Peace.